This is Leisha Holmes, and I'm your host on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. And you are going to absolutely love my next guest. I got to know this next guest because she'd approached me to my day job as a recruitment consultant, and the energy and enthusiasm and knowledge of our next guest just was totally infectious. That's the only word I can use to describe her. So without further ado, I'd like to welcome to you our global community, Rebecca Law, who is the director at PSI Global Recruitment over in Merseyside in the UK. How are you today, Rebecca?
I'm brilliant. Thank you so much for having me.
You are so welcome. So you're going to be unfamiliar to quite a lot of people unless they happen to inhabit your sector. So for the benefit of our global community, which stretches all the way from the UK all the way to the States, Australia, Europe, Asia, we're so lucky. Who are you and what do you do?
So I'm Rebecca. I work for PSI Global Group, but I'm the director of PSI Industrial Services. We specialise in mainly marine recruitment, so naval yards, shipyards, dockyards, power stations, all industrial sites. That is what I've done for the last 10 years.
Wow, it's such an exciting sector. My mind, if everyone else is like, oh wow, it's so exciting. What's it like? What's been happening in your market and in your sector in the last, let's say, 5 years or so? Because that covers the COVID and Brexit period.
Definitely. So obviously COVID was didn't really affect construction or the industry that we worked in. We were safe. We were a safe industry and people carried on working. Post-COVID though, a lot of projects were put behind. So companies have threw money to try and get projects back on track. We've had Brexit. There's an aging workforce. We've got a skill shortage. So it's becoming more and more difficult to find the right skills for the jobs. We've got plenty of jobs, but not a lot of people.
Right. And I think that's really important because you are in quite a niche sector, which everyone knows exists because we look around us. And I mean, I guess if you don't live in a coastal area, you might not think about the marine sector, but obviously it is construction and industrial. So from your point of view, what's it like in terms of, you know, and I'm not talking about us being woke here, but as an industry, our recruitment industry, we've transformed in the last few years when we're talking much more openly around gender equality, neurodiversity, different physical ability levels, you know, people coming from, you know, different diverse backgrounds. Where are you at as an industry? And then why do you think you as an industry need to be more diverse?
I think we need to open up different labour markets. You know, the labour markets got smaller and smaller. You know, we want to go into different markets of, you know, we need to open these people up. You know, maybe they haven't even thought about a career in construction. That's a main thing that we're hearing, especially from young people, is when they're in school, they're not taught about this as a career. And that's something that we really want to focus on, is going into schools and focusing on the amount of money that they can earn. You know, that's all they're interested in, is it's not taught as an option. Bringing more people into the industry has definitely got to be an aim, and it's something that we're really trying to do. It's embedded within our business now. We need to do it, otherwise we're going to be in a much worse situation in 5 more years.
The thing is, when I talk to anybody, generally it's STEM related, but even rec to rec is a skill short market. And of course, we've made our lives a lot harder with things like Brexit, haven't we? In terms of, you know, bringing in labour from other countries. But I think you can't create something out of nothing. And of course, without us educating the education system, there's a total disparity between what they think they're getting them geared up. Teachers have all the best intentions. They think they're getting them geared up for a working world. And actually the reality is that those jobs are maybe going to be redundant or replaced by AI. But these are amazing career paths. So are you actually working as initiatives with schools and colleges? I mean, what are you actually doing in your actual communities to get them to understand that there's a skill shortage?
In the communities, so we've recently set up a training company. Initially, it's going to be about getting people into the industrial coating industry. Again, it's quite a small niche industry. I think there's only 1,800 people that are actually qualified. Considering the amount of projects and the amount of work that we've got going on, there's a lot of shipbuilding. You know, the building more and more ships. So we've set up the training company to get people into there. We've also set up 3 community initiatives. One is called the Community Initiative. Its main focus is getting local people back into work.
Great.
A lot of people during COVID, you know, they were working in these sites, but they left because obviously it wasn't stable. I know a lot of people have got more stable jobs. Like there's a lot of skilled people doing like taxi driving, but we want to get those people back into it. So the community initiative is all about engaging with people in the local community to get them back into work. We've got our rehabilitation initiative that's focused on delivering this training, the train the painter training inside prisons, and match them with an employer to get them some work experience when they come out.
Love that. That's so important. That's a recent one. I hadn't even thought about that. I was going to say, I don't remember you telling me that when we spoke all that while ago.
That was I made that one last week, so that's a relatively new one. We've got the community, the industrial coating initiative, which is purely we'll get people who haven't done industrial painting before. They might have been unemployed. They might just want a career change. We'll give them the training, and then we want to partner with employers to be able to give them work experience.
That's amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's try and blueprint what you've done. So for those listening who are in a position similar to yourself as a recruitment leader, but also as a recruiter, to do something different, how did you go about creating these initiatives? Who did you need to go and speak? Did you need to have connections, or did you just cold call yourself?
I cold called myself, and obviously we're quite lucky. We've got employers that are we call them clients. We've got clients that are really, they really want to engage in this kind of stuff. Their problem is our problem at the moment. We can't find the people for them. So it's all about working together to come up with a solution. And this was the solution. We get buy-in from the clients, and it's also, we want to do, we take so much from the industry, especially we work in recruitment, but we also work in construction. I think there's people think that we take so much from the industry. We wanted to give something back and leave like a positive impact or a legacy. That's how we were basically thinking of it when we thought of it.
How much of it, and I'm going to just put this out here because obviously we are both women. How where's the gender equality at the moment in construction as an industry generally? And then what's the perception? If I was listening now and I was in a college or I was doing a job where I thought, do you know what, that would really appeal to me, how responsive is the industry to the gender gap and women coming in, and transgender as well? There's a huge market out there of people who are going through that transition. So how truly diverse is that sector? How safe is it?
It's definitely come on a lot. There's more women. I've seen a lot more women scaffolders. I've seen a lot more women industrial painters. I think it's brilliant. I could never do it myself. I could never, but I think it's brilliant. We've also, one of the sites, I won't name it, but we have got quite a large population of transgender people.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I think like some of the feedback that we've got is, it's quite an intimidating place to work, but the feedback that they've got on site has been brilliant.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic.
That's wonderful. Because I think as an industry, out of all the industries out there, that's the kind of misconception maybe, that it's like, the wolf whistling, like something off the 1980s or whatever. But that, and then absolutely got to keep, the identity of the site safe for obvious reasons, because not everybody's so accepting. But I think that's just, you could literally, you're changing somebody's life and career forever.
And I think like we've done a big, what we wanted to do is when we were doing job adverts for the site, is we were looking for cleaners. We done video job descriptions of a woman cleaner. So hopefully the idea was if they saw another woman working there, they think, oh, that must be
You're not going to be the only woman.
I'm not going to be the only one. And that was something that we put together with our marketing manager. We thought we need to change the perception. We've done a lot of work on it. It hasn't always been easy, but definitely it's come on a long way, especially like you say with the transgender. We want them to feel included as well, and like not feel like they can't work. Like, come on in, let's give it a go.
That's what true diversity actually means. And I do just want to go back a little bit and just pick up on something else that you said, which your approach absolutely epitomizes what partnership really is. You're not sat there saying to your client, and there's this awful misconception that recruiters are just sat there going, whatever, I'll come back to you with some CVs or whatever it might be. But actually you're saying, we can't find the people. What are we going to do together to go and enable us to open up these skill short markets and go and create pockets of people that you wouldn't have necessarily thought of? And I just think that's just a remarkable example of what true partnership looks like, that you were brave enough. How many of your competitors would have done that, for example? Just maybe they're still sat there going, oh, we'll send you some CVs.
Yep. I think you still can find the people, but I think, it's got to be like a longer term approach, because it's only going to get worse. It's only going to get worse. There's people that are due for retirement,
right.
People are retiring all the time. So they leave the skilled market, but we need people coming in to replace them. Otherwise,
to be trained.
It just goes.
It's a dying trade. And is it a trade, and is it an industry that can be replaced by AI?
No,
because it's a physical job, isn't it? Unless I mean, who knows? At one point, we'll be replaced by actual robots.
I know.
Are you bringing a robot into your house? Because I'm not. Well, I've kind of got one in a smart speaker, haven't I? But it's definitely not happening. Although if they make me a cup of tea, given what I told you before, that I've only had one brew all day. One of the things that I wanted to invite you on for is that as a sector and as an industry, construction has been light years ahead when it comes to things like corporate social responsibility and sustainability, the whole ESG thing. So how can we as recruiters become A, more socially aware, but B, have something meaningful in what we do for our industry and beyond?
I always think it's quite personal. So the stuff for me, especially obviously being from Liverpool, is I wanted initially to do it obviously in the city, in the town that I'm from, make a positive impact on people's lives. I think it's got to mean something to you. It's got to have something personal attached to it. That was my motivation. And my brother, who's 17, he didn't know what he wanted to do. It all come at a similar time. He didn't know what he wanted to do. He was asking me how much the scaffolders earn, how much the industrial painters earn, how much the welders earn, and then it all just come together. And it's got to be personal, and I don't think it works trying to look like you're trying to be socially aware. I think you've actually
got to mean it.
You've got to mean it and be passionate about something. But it can be across all sectors. So what I'm talking about, you can apply it to any industry, any sector. We all need to do our bit to make sure that there's people for the jobs that we need, because otherwise we'll all be out of a job.
This is very true. I know it's very true. No, do you know what? I think you've just totally kind of stripped away all the kind of marketing and corporate headlines that you see around ESG and sustainability and all this. I don't know why I just put on that voice, but it's true. We can all have an impact in whatever way that is for you. You've almost simplified it, and I'm sure it hasn't been simple, but the fact that you sat there and saw it yourself in your own house with your brother, that multiply by however many hundreds or thousands of people you're going to impact, that to me is truly, that's the social responsibility we can all have. And around things like sustainability, I guess we can all think about how we can do things in a much more cost-effective way, where we don't need to travel. We can do things remotely. We're doing this now remotely. It's all of those things, but actually anyone listening can do what you've done for their local community.
Definitely.
For their industry.
And I think what we do is, like, when we work with so we also work with our clients to help them with their CSR goals. So they might have CSR targets set by their clients on the site that they're working on. We'll sit down with them, find out what they need to do, how we suggest doing it, and then we try and get as many of the people involved as when we're trying to make a strategy. So the people on the site team, what charity do you want to be involved with? Is there a charity that you have in mind? Again, it needs to be personal, because people need to feel a part of it. Otherwise, if we just picked a random national charity that nobody really had any interest in, would they give the same spark? And probably not. So it needs to be
not.
They need to be fully invested in it, and it needs to mean something to people, basically.
It really does. Well, I absolutely applaud you in everything that you're doing, and I think you must be working in a really interesting sector. And Liverpool, it's a thriving, amazing city for anybody that's never been, because most of our audience is actually outside the UK. So go on, give us a little, before we go, give us a little snapshot as to why you should come and visit Liverpool.
The waterfront, you can't beat it.
It's beautiful.
And
the people,
the waterfront, the people, Liverpool on a sunny day, like it's very sunny today. You can't beat it.
No, I have to tell you guys that I hadn't been for a good 10 years or so. And I visited in summer of 2022. And in fact, as we record this now in summer of 2023, I'm actually due to come over next weekend with my daughter. I'll talk to you about that offline in a minute. And we came over like probably June 2022, and we were blown away. We didn't want to leave. Like we just kept walking round and round. We were back on the waterfront, and then it's just transformed, and your shopping area is gorgeous. But what I like, and I just want to make this point to anyone that's in London or New York, it's so compact in Liverpool that you can literally walk it in about half an hour, and you've seen it all. But there's still more you can see. I know that sounds crazy, but it's true, isn't it?
It is. You can walk from one end to the other. You can see everything. You can go from the waterfront to the city centre to the shops to the old part of. You could go everywhere.
Yeah, no, definitely. And there's so much history in Liverpool, isn't there? So it's just, I know, I'm really pleased that I asked you that, because I think a lot of people are probably a little bit unaware of what a beautiful place it is. And for me, the people are just so, obviously yourself included, just super friendly and down to earth. So you should definitely, and that's why it was voted as the culture capital, wasn't it?
It was.
As well as the home of Eurovision.
The Eurovision was massive. I have to, as well, as I'm trying to be conscious with my accent, because I know it can stick out sometimes.
I don't even know what you mean. What are you talking about? It's okay. Well, the thing is that generally speaking, anyone that's never been to Lancashire, for example, they're like, where are you from? And so no, I love the Scouse accent. You've got a beautiful accent, and you have been delightful, as I know you would be. So I know you're really busy. Yes. Well done on all your initiatives. You're a prime example of what we can all do in partnering our clients better. So thank you for joining us on the Recruiters Recruitment Podcast. Thank you. Lovely.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.